When you buy a Flexshaft machine, there are a lot of accessories that you can use, and it gets quite overwhelming. Hi, I'm Melissa Muir, and in this video I'm going to show you my top 5 favorites. Now, of course, I use so many different accessories here in my studio, but again, these are going to be my top 5. So these are my 2 favorite hand pieces. These are probably the ones that I reach for the most. My H30 is probably one of the most versatile hand pieces I have in the studio. I actually have a number of these in various equipment, like my jump ring maker, also my drill press, and my little belt sander. I like this one because you can open up the chuck up to 5/30 seconds and it closes completely down. So I have a very wide range of accessories that I can use in this. This is my H10 hand piece. This is what we call a quick change hand piece. I really like this one because it's got really good weight to it. It's made in Italy, all metal components inside, very well built. Now this one's also going to be a little bit more expensive because of that, but in my studio it was worth the cost. Now we call it a quick change because the accessories that it uses in here are only 3/30 seconds or 2.35 millimeters. Anything larger or smaller than that is just not going to work in here. Now, one thing you should know about quick change hand pieces, when you go to pull out an accessory, always push it in first and then pull it out. Don't ever close it with nothing in it. Always store something in it, especially when you're done using this. All quick change hand pieces are going to come with a blank mandrel, so make sure you hang on to that so that you can use that for storing if you don't want to leave any other accessory or bit inside. All of the accessories that I'm going to be showing you today have a 2.35 millimeter or 3/32 inch mandrel, so it's going to work in both the quick change as well as that adjustable chuck for the H30. One of the most used accessories in my Flexshaft are these sandpaper rolls. Now each roll has 10 inches, they are 1 inch tall, they are already wrapped, so all I have to do is use this, and then when I'm done, I'll take an X-Acto knife and just kind of cut to the beginning of a line, score that, pull that off, and I'm left with another new piece of sandpaper, and I'm ready to get right back to work. I like these because they last a long time and it's effortless for me to get. I don't have to sit and wrap my own and then try to fix it with either glue or a rubber band, so it's kind of a nice little accessory. There are 3 different types of sandpaper rolls that you can get, so I'm going to include a link up here in the corner and you guys can go out and watch the video where I've reviewed this and introduced them. They also come in a variety of accessories, so I can buy 1 grit, just a whole 12 pack of that 1 grit, or as you can see in this case, this is an assortment and there are 12 pieces to this one, so it has a whole range of grits. So you have a number of options when it comes to purchasing these. I would suggest that you buy an assortment pack and then you'll quickly find which ones you use the most, and then I just order a 12 pack to replace the ones that I use the most. The next accessory that I use, I'm sure, is quite common in a lot of studios. They are radial discs, and as you can see, there is a whole assortment of these. I really like this particular one. For one, it's quite affordable. It will come with a screw-on mandrel. However, I would highly suggest that you buy multiple screw-on mandrels, so that way you can mount some of these and not have to worry about unscrewing and re-screwing on when you change out the accessory. The grits are all laid out up here, so it makes it very easy for you to see what it is. So in this case, we have 80, 120, 220, and then again back to an 80, but notice that there's a size difference. There are 3 different sizes of radial discs in this assortment and various number of grits. So this is a really good one to have on hand. When using radial discs, I usually use 3 or 4 at a time, never less than 3. You can stack them all the way up to about 6 if you have a long enough screw in your mandrel. Another one of my very well used and loved accessories are the mountain satin finishers. I really like these because I'm able to very quickly remove oxidation, fire scale, burrs, as well as imparting a satin finish on my piece. It gives a really nice, smooth, even surface when I'm doing that satin finish. These are made of a compressed Scotch-Brite. They're also called a unitized wheel. There are a lot of times when I have very, very small and hard to reach places, and these accessories are going to help me get into these. These are miniature carbide burrs and bits, and there's a number of faces on here. So for instance, this one is a tapered crosscut. I also have an inverted cone, a ball nose, as well as a cylinder. A couple of them come in different cuts. They can either be just a regular cut or they can be a cross cut. These are going to allow me to get into, like I said, those really fine, tight areas, and I can go in and smooth out saw lines or grooves. I can also widen a hole a little bit if I need to, or clean up any excess solder. And finally, I have my assortment of silicone and rubber accessories. There are a lot of different shapes, as you can see here, as well as various grits. Now, you're not going to need the whole assortment of these. For instance, some of these are actually the same, but there might be one that's better for silver versus gold. For instance, the blue and the yellow here, my yellow is going to be wonderful on gold, while my blue is going to be really, really good for some of my white metals like platinum and silver. Again, I do have another video that explains all of these accessories, so you can check that out above there as well. Now, if I had to choose one as my favorite, it's going to be this one. This is a 1mm by 25mm silicone in the blue. This is a very fine, so I can use this to just simply erase little scratches and dents and divots, and it's fascinating to watch, especially under magnification. Now, in the case of this silicone accessory, it is a cylinder, and it just has an end screw that will screw right into the bottom hole of my accessory. Others will need a screw mandrel, and it comes in a disc, a knife edge, and cylinder. Now, this particular assortment has 4 different grits, so we go from coarse, medium fine, and extra fine. If you don't really like the silicone, you also have the option of the rubber accessories that are very similar. Again, we have the different shapes, so we have a disc, we have a knife edge, as well as your cylinder. Both the rubber and silicone accessories can actually be reshaped. You can get something like this, like a shaping stone. You can see I've been working on a green one over at my bench, and I can change this shape, or if I need to, I can resharpen an edge just simply by putting it in my Flexshaft and running it on here. There are multiple grooves, plus I also really like to work on these edges or corners, and that helps me conform the shape of whatever I'm using to the piece that I'm polishing. This is just an introduction to some of my favorite. Narrowing this down to just 5 was actually really difficult, because after using all of these, then I jump into some more accessories that are going to allow me to do that final finish. And that's going to include fiber wheels, that's going to include buffs, whether they're cotton or muslin or whatever else. And then I will of course also use different polishing compounds. But I would say that the 5 most used are these that I just showed you here. I will include links to the different accessories and where to buy them down below. And as always, if you have questions, make sure you drop those in the comments or drop us a line at our email. If you're enjoying the series of videos that I do with Fordham, please make sure you like it, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, ring the bell so that you mark that you get all notifications and you won't miss any more that are coming up. So stay tuned, because I do have more in this series coming soon.